I'm Angel Mejico. I teach visual arts and I teach at El Cerrito Middle School in Corona, California. My year last year was fairly interesting. I was named a 2019 California Teacher of the Year. So the first half of my year, I was gone. I went from Africa straight to China, and I had to do just different appearances. And when I went to Africa, I was working with Jane Moore, and she's founder of Pencils and Dreams. And my students had worked with her on a project to fundraise to help some students in Africa. And so we traveled to Africa to meet these students, to exchange letters, and to share some artwork. So I had a lot of fun over there. I got to visit the schools and paint a mural with the students over there. So that was fairly exciting. Then I came back for 24 hours. And when I came back for 24 hours, I left with other California Teachers of the Year and went to China. So we toured China a bit, and we did some Teacher of the Year duties after that. Then I came back right at the beginning of the year, and then we were on the winter break. So then when the new year started at my school, that's sort of when it gets very busy with the Art Expo. So at my site, the entire school comes together, and my art program, we spearhead this Art Expo. We work with an organization, which was Pencils and Dreams last year, and then we sort of sell art that night, and we have fundraisers. It's a big concert. There'll be food vendors, things like that. Community gets involved, and it's a big thing. And then we donate that money. So when I came back in January, I was sort of thinking, okay, it's Art Expo time. We're ready to rock and roll. And everyone was waiting for me to get back. And I said, we're ready to go. So that time of year, we were just really getting ready for the Art Expo. All the teachers on campus, the science department, everyone, we were collaborating, getting things together, figuring how the design was going to be. And we usually take over the gym and our multi-purpose room, and we completely change it into a different kind of environment. And the kids come up with a theme. It's top secret. We don't say what it is. And we close everything off, and we just modify everything. We had engineers working with us, and it was really fun. So when March hit, I was sort of on that timeline, like, we're good, we're ahead, because the Art Expo was supposed to be in April. And the kids, the campus was a buzz at that time, and we were just in full expo mode. And kids are building these massive installations. We had a 40-foot whale out of water bottles. Last year we built, it was like a 30-foot space shuttle, and it was all the kids that build these things from 6th grade through 8th grade. So when March 13th hit, right at the end of the school day, and they said, you're shut down because of the virus, we all hit pause. And I honestly thought that after spring break. And so we were planning back after spring break, and then it would be expo time. And I thought, I have 2 weeks to go. We can get the expo done in 2 weeks. We can have our big art show. We're still good to go. Then as everyone sort of saw, it continued on. And then that's when, things started to get canceled a little bit at a time. When we went online, it was just go online, pick your platform, kind of figure it out. And so we didn't really know what we were doing at that time, because you figure, like the arts, we do technology, but a lot of it's hands-on. We're tactile, we're building, we're moving, we're on clay, things like that. So we scrambled, we all worked together, we had our trainings, and we were a little bit more fortunate because we had that week of spring break to get going. But we sort of just got through. We got through to the summer, and we never anticipated it would continue. We didn't. But we sort of started hearing rumblings about it, and we didn't know when we were going to go back, because normally we go back in August, as we go through. And a lot of my family members, they go back like probably a couple weeks before me, but really just like everyone else, we didn't know what was going on. So when we got word we were going to continue online, I had to sit back and reflect and sort of think, what would that look like? How can I make the curriculum fun for the students, fun for me to teach? How can I still incorporate the kind of the dynamics of our school, where we really try to take the curriculum and have the kids give back to the community? And that's sort of our platform that we go on. And that's what I had always did. So when we first went online, a lot of our projects, like we'd have the kids and they did like greeting cards for first responders, and we sent those to hospitals, we sent those to nurses, we sent those to firefighters, police officers, wherever the kids wanted to send their card, we sent them there, and they had to kind of drop the poem. So that was fine. But then I said, I really need something that's more sustainable. And we go back, and honestly, I didn't know what I was going to be teaching or where or anything like that. So when I was speaking to the individual Jane Moore, that she's founder of Pencils and Dreams, last year she sort of told me, it was a great quote from Arthur Ashe, and it was always start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. And that became just a quote that I lived by last year, and I still do. And when I started to think about pandemic and online learning, I said, you know, okay, Angel, you got to start where you are. You have to use what you have, and then we need to do what we can with this. And my students know I always try to make it a collaborative effort with them, and they do have a say in their education and their learning, and I'm very transparent with them, and very honest with them. And I sort of came up with a program early on, and I called it Art in Motion, and I just called it AIM. And what I wanted the kids to do is I wanted them to take their art, but I wanted it to be so meaningful because I needed them to really believe in what they were doing. And we put the art in motion, and we wanted to give back to the community to do that. And out here, you know, there was so much strife happening and a lot of conflict. And when I would talk to the students about it, I said, you guys know that I'm all about positive change. How can we use what we have here and do something positive with it while we're still working within our math, our language arts, our sciences? You know, what can we do? So when I talk to Jane, sort of like my students now, we're illustrating some books. And with these books, we're sort of working on a fundraiser with PE and language arts and all sorts of things. And with these books, when the kids sell them and they created all the artwork for them, part of the money will go to help our kids in Africa that we're supporting with Pencils and Dreams. But then the other part is going to be to help purchase beds for foster kids. And this is the kids decided that this is what they wanted to do, you know, as they went through. So then I started to rethink again. I said, okay, Angel, well, let's not just focus on art. Let's name it AIM, but let's kind of name it like EIM, like education in motion, as opposed to just art in motion. So right now I'm sort of working on the preface of AIM in EIM with education in motion. And I've worked with the kids. And so when I sit with the kids, I said, okay, you guys, this is what we have. What can we do with it now? And they will just, you know, give me all sorts of answers, all sorts of ideas. I said, okay, now let's build our curriculum together. So when the kids are working on things, I'm working on it with them at the same time. And I've gained all their feedback, and they're very transparent. They're very knowledgeable. So what they've sort of done is they wanted to kind of do something positive with their education and what they're doing. So they selected like different dream makers that they felt were dream makers and messaged them. And so they've been interviewing dream makers, and they're going to do an art project based on that one. And then sort of have me do like a 100-mile walk and Jane Moore to these different locations that these dream makers have selected. And so the kids will interview them, and they're responsible for it. And so that's something that we're doing, but then it's going to end like in a 5K at the school. And so we're trying to push it back to see if we can do it in person, but we're not sure yet because of all social distancing guidelines, you know, as you go through. But we're going to see as we kind of go along. But with the kids, we know we have our ups and downs, you know, as we go through. We've been in probably about a month, and we just got word back that we're going to head back. For my grade level, it's November 2nd, and we are going back hybrid. And the kids are pretty transparent on what they feel, how they feel about it, what they think, and they'll ask me all sorts of questions, you know, as they go through. So I think when I'm sort of thinking of online learning, what to do, pandemic, things like that, I can only imagine as a young person, all the thoughts that are going through their minds, but it's a lot of what's going through our minds too, you know, as teachers and just as people, you know, what's happening and how to deal with it and how do you cope with it. But anyone that sort of knows me, they kind of laugh when they see me teaching, because they know that I'll take any sort of situation and I consider it just a challenge, not so much of something that's extremely negative. So I sort of took it as a challenge, a fun challenge, to try to turn it into something positive as an opportunity for these kids and myself to kind of learn and invent something new. And when I talked to my principal about it, and I said, bring it on. I said, it's going to be fine. I said, let's invent something new. And she kind of laughed, and she said, I know you will. I said, I know. I said, it's time to invent something new. So I think for me, it's been wonderful to kind of change it up a little bit. To think outside of that box and bring technology on a whole nother level. So when I do get back in person, still have that technology piece, you know, when we go through. But I think for myself and my students, it's given them an opportunity to communicate with me in a way they probably wouldn't have been able to. So some of my students that are a little bit more shy and introverted, they have zero problems messaging me, you know, in a chat, or they have that one-on-one contact time with me when they come through. So I know in person, it would probably have taken a little bit longer for them to establish that type of relationship and comfort level for them to speak one-on-one or to help each other out. And one class period, it was sort of like my homeroom, and it's my Art Academy kids. We were talking about art, but half the class period, they just hit pause and I just let them go, because one person started talking about the distribution property in math and was struggling with it in their math class. And before I could even answer, because they had directed the question to me to help them out, all the other kids started just chiming in and helping, and I just let them go. And it was so neat to see, and it was so neat to hear, and they're screen sharing, and working out problems together to help this one person get through their distribution property, issues as you go along. So with my kids right now, they know we do a lot of projects and things for our community, but we call it elf work because they know how I am. We do it top secret, but we don't really share what we're doing because we want it to be for a good reason. So we'll kind of do these things for different people, and we always have to swear them to secrecy. So if it's like one organization, we'll say, okay, we'll help you, but you can't tell anyone who helped you. And the kids know it's fun that way. So we'll kind of do elf work, and then we'll go in the classroom and celebrate, and that we made the deadline or we did it on our own. But we usually try to keep things like to ourselves because then we know it's done for the right reason.